first things first, I'm not a former world superbike racer turned bike journo. So if you want to see people doing skids and wheelies and riding this bike at its absolute limit, click somewhere else because there'll be plenty of videos like that. But I'm here for a different reason. And if you follow me or you know my kind of content and what I normally do, you will know that I am not a track rider. I am an adventure rider. So why am I here and what do I want out of this bike? I'm not here to tell you what it feels like when it's right on the edge of the tyre, or whether it's 2 seconds a lap faster or slower than a Panigale V4. I'm just here to relay what it's like for me as a normal rider. So on paper, this bike absolutely terrifies me. It's 206 brake horsepower, about 1,000,000 pound-feet of torque. The base model weighs 210 kilo, and the posh signature one with its posh, well, everything, is about 201 kilos. And all of that should add up to a bike that is really hard to ride, especially for someone that's not a super bike rider or anything like that. The first time I swung a leg over it and set off, I'm dodging heavy rain and the storms, and I was straight out on track. So not only am I riding in the rain on a wet track, first time track riding, first time superbike riding, but it's also on road tires. So I was more than nervous. And yet, right off the bat, that's the thing that really impressed me. As someone who's not brimming with confidence, I managed to ride this and feel in control. It didn't feel like it was trying to kill me. In fact, quite the opposite. I felt like it was really looking after me, and any mistakes I made, it made sure that, that didn't cause any issues. It was so confidence inspiring, which I did not expect. It's really, really surprised me. As you'd expect from a flagship superbike, it's packed with electronics. I will go to future me to talk you through those over some voiceover clips.
Okay, future me / past me for when you're watching this. Okay, so the Manx R is filled with loads of rider aids, including 5 ride modes: traction control, wheelie control, rear slide control, hill hold launch control, cornering cruise control, quick shift up and down with auto rev matching. Just got the full shebang of everything you could ever need. Basically, the bike can hold your hand if you need it to, or you can let it leave you alone a little bit and you can just, do what you want to do and turn off as much or as little as you want with the assistance. I didn't really get a chance to play around with all the modes much. I just put it in rain mode for the track because it was wet and raining, obviously. And then when it came to the road ride, I thought, do you know what, I'm going to stick with rain for a bit, try it in road. I didn't like it in road much just because I was used to rain and having like a nice smooth, easy feel. And it doesn't change the power at all. It just changes the smoothness and the throttle response. So I liked it in rain mode the most.
And all of these electronics and all these rider aids helped me so much. The engine is the same architecture as the motor that was in the old V4 SV, but literally everything is new in for this model. So the headline power figure is more than the old bike. But what Norton have really focused on is making it more rideable too. So it's getting the torque in the power range that people are using. So you're not having to rev the tits off it to get that torque. You are getting 77% of its torque within, I think they said like 5,000 RPM. So at 5,000 RPM, that's where most riders are sort of riding around. You're getting all that torque that you need. So, and you really can tell it's just a lovely, lovely bike to ride, even for a novice like me. So the engine to actually ride, and not just all the specs and all the sort of official data on it, it felt really giving. Like you could ride it steady, you could ride it fast. It didn't really matter. It just gave you what you needed all the time. It's the same story with the chassis. It's not an ultra stiff race bike that only works if you're Taryn McKenzie or Tommy Bridewell. It's genuinely as usable on the road as it is the track, and it's got a lot of flex and give, and you can actually feel that. So we went over potholes and rough bits in the road, a bit of like broken tarmac and gravelly stuff, and you could feel that flex, and you could feel it. It was a weird feeling, but it was really nice. Like, it didn't break my neck or my back going over the bumps like other bikes that aren't sports bikes I've ridden have. The suspension and the chassis just worked so well along with the brakes, and it all just came together so nicely, and I've never actually been this excited to ride a bike.
And then we're talking suspension. Norton have gone for Marzocchi, I hope that's how it's said, suspension with fully adjustable upside down forks and a rear shock, plus manually controlled compression and rebound damping at both ends on the base spec. And then if you get the other models, which I'm going to talk about, you've got semi-active electronically controlled suspension. Now, I can't comment on the manual suspension from the base spec because I rode the signature, but what's crazy is that system measures the position, the speed, the acceleration of the forks and shock, and then every 3 milliseconds it updates and adjusts, which I just find absolutely baffling. Then you've got the Brembo Hyper brakes. They are another headline figure, along with cornering ABS and rear lift control. Norton says that setup can let riders achieve up to 1G of deceleration without the rear coming up. Now, I was nowhere near getting anything like that in my track riding or road riding, but when I had to really pull on those brakes before coming into that first bend after a long straight on the track, I did feel really planted and really safe and controlled. So felt good for me. So all of these rider aids, in theory, should add up to a bike that really looks after its rider. And as a track novice, I genuinely feel like it did. I'm still here. I was smiling coming in. I even cried with joy on the first time I went out on track.
Thank you. That was the best thing. Oh, I'm crying. That was so good. Cool. Wow. It looked after me. Oh, I'm so happy.
And even in the wet, it felt so planted and so well controlled.
If you are that super duper fast track day rider or racer, I can't tell you whether or not to buy this bike. But if you're more in the camp of a normal human, one with plenty of cash to spend, then I would say you need to try this.
And that brings us to a really important point: price. The cheapest version of the bike, the base spec, is £20,250. Okay, that's not cheap, but it is almost £5,000 less than a Panigale V4, and it's not dissimilar to the price of the returning GSX R1000 or BMW's S1000RR. And in terms of exoticness, it's hard to beat this. So there are 4 trim levels on the Manx R. I've mentioned the base, the cheapest one, which uses conventional suspension and cast wheels. Then there's the £24,750 Apex edition. Again, that's £6,000 roughly, less than a Panigale V4S, and that gets semi-active suspension. Then there's a £38,750 Signature Edition, which gets things like carbon fibre wheels. I made this little table of differences on the plane over to Spain, so you can have a little look and see what each of them get. And there are a few different colours. Then there's the first edition, which is price on application. So I'm assuming if you have to ask what that costs, probably can't afford it. That comes with loads of titanium on it and is just really gorgeous. But back to more real world spec bikes. It might have a Norton badge on the tank, and they've really pushed usability and reliability with these. But they've got huge backing from TVS. So they're known for that slightly quirky, but ultimately a little flawed British small-scale bike builder. They are mainstream. This is a mainstream bike. And if you're thinking of putting 20 or so grand into a superbike or whatever that works out at on a PCP,
I've loved it. I have loved it so much, and it's really looked after me, and genuinely think It's amazing.
But to be honest and fair, I will give you any negatives, just, out of honesty. And there was one big flaw for me, and that was the side stand. Darn side stand. You might just think it's just a me problem, and maybe you're right a little bit, but I was wearing my new TCX RT Race Pro boots, I think they're called. They're these ones. Yeah, RT Race Pros. And if you have a look at these, they are really curved in the heel. And because of that, I just could not find the side stand. I couldn't push it down once. In the whole day I was riding, I had to just wait and ask very nice people from Norton if they could put my side stand down. And I know it wasn't just me, there were other people on the launch that were having this issue. So that was a bit frustrating. And I know the engineers have worked really hard on the side stand to make it still really sleek, to make sure it doesn't grind out, but to make it usable. And yeah, if I became rich overnight and bought one of these, I'd have to probably learn to weld. Failing that, I'd have to ride in trainers, I guess. Another thing that's not really a negative, it's just something that wasn't ready yet for the launch, was the app. They have a smartphone app, which means you can connect to the bike and you can see all your rider stats. So you can see your track times, your lean angle, your maximum speed, all of that stuff, which would be quite fun. But also for road riding, they have turn-by-turn navigation on the dash of the bike. So I think that would be really useful, and it would have been really nice to test out, but it's not ready yet. I think they said it'll be ready in a couple of weeks. So that's a shame. I couldn't tell you that. And another thing that's not a fault of the bike, just something that I can't really comment on, is I don't really know what the other specs are like to ride. So the base model with its manual controlled suspension and the cast wheels with the extra weight, would have been nice to ride that as well as the Apex and the Signature, just so I could have told you about them all. But that's not a fault of the bike, that's just we didn't have time or the logistics to do that. And I'm sure now that the launch is over, there will be people riding and reviewing all the different models. So that's not a negative of the bike. That's just something I would have really liked to be able to compare. Before I wrap this up, I just wanted to tell you that there will be another longer video which is about the launch. It's going to have more of a vlog sort of fun vibe with the track riding, the road riding, the hotels, the flights, the food, everything that was around the whole trip. And I'm really excited for you to see that video. So please do check that one out when it's out in a few weeks and subscribe so you don't miss it. Is on?
Yes, we're gonna squeeze on.
Yeah.
Say
What the heck is this? Who's this geezer? Oh my goodness. I want to be in this. It's freezing. Now back to the original question. Why am I here? And what do I want from this bike? As I'm not a superbike rider, as I'm not a racer, what I wanted to feel on this bike was obviously excitement and fun, but I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel looked after. And I wanted to come away from riding on the track feeling like I've learned something and I've been able to push myself in a safe way. And that's exactly what it gave me. But it also, on the road, felt like it was comfortable enough to go out for a nice long ride. We were doing a 100-kilometer ride. We were out for a few hours. The only time I got neck pain was when I had the camera mounted, so I couldn't keep that on for that long. But it was really, really, really fun. Really forgiving, and it was really comfortable. So what more could I want, really? The Manx R could be one of those bikes that, as a novice track rider, you go out and whether it's your first time on track or your 10th time on track, you feel like you have built your confidence and your skills each ride. But also you want to take it out for a sunny ride on a Sunday or a nice warm summer's evening, you could go and do that and you will be smiling the whole way, looking back at it thinking, what a stunning work of art. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you on the longer version of this video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe.
I really loved it, and I really wish I was rich enough to have one.
And what do you think? What should I ride next? Should I take out one of its rivals and try and get a track day booked? Thank you for watching, because it's down to you that's led me to this, and I'm really, really grateful.